Good morning. I guess it's afternoon. Hello, Facebook. How are you doing? Today it's Renee. Glad to see you. I'm going to wiggle around a little bit so that we're all on the same page. Hey, there you are. We're going to talk about collaborations and networks and moving your message forward today. And I want to think about it from a little bit of different perspective that not a lot of people think about it. So we're going to talk about three main things. Who should be on your team to help you move your message forward? Who's the right person to share your message? And are you sure it's you? We're going to talk about that today, all about collaborations and messages. So if you're with us today, say hello in the chat. Thank you for being here. My name is Renee, and we're going to talk about collaborations and building a network of people to help you move your message forward. So when I was in the state house a long time ago now, it's been over a decade, can you believe it? I actually got tossed out by the last map, and the new map comes in 2022. I've been out for a whole decade now. But when I was in the state house, sometimes there are things that you should take point on and lead and be the person that is the champion and is the messenger. And there's other things, maybe not, that's not your thing, and for a variety of reasons. So let's talk about what some of those reasons could be. Why might you be the right person for the message? Well, maybe you're an expert in the area and you really understand the issue very well. Maybe you've got a personal story or a personal history that ties to the message you're trying to move forward. So that makes you the perfect candidate to help move it ahead. 3, maybe you speak the same language, I'll call it, and we'll talk about that in a second, with the main people around you that need to move a message forward. And so that makes you the right messenger. So what do I mean by the right language, right? So this is where you start thinking about who needs to be on the team and are they the right people? So right now in our state house, the Republicans are in charge of the House, the Republicans are in charge of the Senate, and the Republicans are in charge of the governorship. But here's what you might not know about Iowa, where I live. We have a nonpartisan redistricting map. So what happened, we just got our maps redrawn and they were just approved a week ago. And those maps are not drawn looking at anybody's place where they are elected on the map. It is all done by compactness and making sure counties stay together. And there's actual algorithms of how close within numbers of people needs to be in each district. So it looks at 4 congressional districts, and you have to make 4 of them as tightly compacted and with the least number of variant of number of members among them. And then once you get past that level, then you go down to the House and Senate districts, and those are 2 House districts are nested under 1 Senate district. So we have 50 senators, 100 House members. And so all of that is drawn up specifically by rule related to population. Certain cities of certain sizes can't be divided. Sometimes they can, but for specific reasons. Counties have to be kept together when at certain times, but they can be split for certain reasons. And so at the end of the day, it throws a lot of people into the same district. So right now, I think the numbers are around 30 members are thrown together in districts. And what typically happens is a lot of members will decide to retire. This is the time they decide to not run again, or people actually physically move to an open district. So we have a lot of open seats in our state. What that means is it's going to become really competitive. And our state historically has been what we call a purple state. We will swing to the blue side. We voted for Biden. We will swing toward the red side. We voted for Trump. And so we can go either way. And with a new map that lays it all back on the table with an opportunity for pickups for either party. And so when you're thinking about your message today, we have a Republican state house, a Republican Senate, and a Republican governorship. But after the new map, that could change. So a lot of our messengers in our state, if you're at that state level, are bipartisan, because you have to work with both sides of the aisle because you never know when the next party is going to be in charge. And so you don't take for granted that somebody's a minority. We're not a state where there's permanent a minority of a particular group. So we're always thoughtful of both sides of the aisle, making sure that you speak both languages. So what does that mean? Well, when I was in the state house, I was a Republican, but I worked in healthcare and I worked in mental health. And so I really tried to stay out of the partisan politics for the most part. So if there was a really partisan issue, on either side of the aisle. I did not want to be that spokesperson, not because I didn't have an opinion one way or the other, because I did, but because I was working in healthcare and mental health. I didn't want to be seen as the super partisan person that wouldn't be able to be heard on a healthcare issue that should be both issues, right? Both sides of the aisle should care about healthcare. So I had to be considering, what did I want to be known for? Because I had a message down the middle. Healthcare impacts everybody, right? In my opinion, shouldn't even be a partisan issue. How we got to masks and vaccines being partisan is beyond my comprehension, because it's all about healthcare for everybody. Everybody gets sick. This year, everybody in the world's gotten COVID. Everybody knows somebody who's died of COVID. And so the fact that it became political is a hot mess. So I didn't want to be seen as political in a healthcare space. And so for me, I was not the right messenger for quite a few things, because that was not my thing. Now, there were other issues, mostly healthcare, mostly mental health. I was the right person for. And then there were a few other issues, like I was ahead of relating to voter ID, I think it might have been, or voter registration stuff. And I really cared about voting. So I wanted to make sure I was in part of that. Or there was an issue, my favorite, the traffic cameras. Oh my gosh. Here's an issue that should have gone away years ago, but here's what happened. I only cared about them for Cedar Rapids around this dangerous S curve through the middle of our town. We wanted to keep those there. So somebody in our caucus decided to have this vote. They wanted 100% clean vote to get rid of traffic cameras. And I said, you go ahead, I'm going to vote against you. You guys will still pass whatever you're going to pass, but I need to vote to keep the cameras because that's what my constituents back home wanted. And that became a big issue. All of a sudden, they wanted a clean vote with everybody's support. And I'm like, well, I can't do that. That's not where my people that I represented stand on the issue. So that became kind of a thing, right? That can happen. So sometimes and the people that you care about are the ones kind of pushing the side that you're trying to represent. That's your job, right? So that's what we're talking about here. So let's go back to the beginning. We're thinking about, who do you need around the table to move your message forward? And if it's a partisan situation, you need to take into account who's in charge, right? And unfortunately, right now, school boards are becoming more partisan, right? Even local elections that are supposed to be nonpartisan. You can go read about the mayoral race in Cedar Rapids. It's become partisan. And so you have to think about, well, who's in charge? And maybe a partisan slant, or maybe more conservative or more liberal in spending, maybe. And so thinking about who that is, and you need people that can represent the message. Then you've got to think about, are you the right person for that message? And if you've got the story, and if you've got the expertise, and if you make connections with these people, then maybe the answer is yes. But if that's not you, then maybe you need a team where somebody else can help speak the language of others to help give you the message that works between and in between those groups. So do you see what I'm saying? So it depends on who you need around your table based on your expertise, but their expertise as well. So if you're going to be talking about something like agriculture issues, which I had to vote on a lot of the time, I became really good friends with people in the ag industry that knew the issues so that I would know enough to know what I needed to do to vote, right? They didn't tell me how to vote, but they helped teach me the issue so I could feel confident in knowing more about that issue. But I was by far not the expert. So nobody comes to me to talk about how high you pile whatever kind of poo or how many hogs you can have on a lot. I don't know any of that stuff, but I did know people who did, right? And so part of this conversation is surrounding yourself with the people you need to have in your circle so that you can trust them to help them get the information you need. We're going to talk about this more coming up, but I want to go back through this one more time. Who should be on your team? Well, it depends kind of who you're trying to influence. Like, who is the voice you're trying to change? Then you need people like that on your team. Then who should be the messenger? Well, it depends. Who can speak that language? Who has the expertise? Who has the story? Who has the experience that will resonate with the people, right? That's a really good thing to think about. And then making sure you stay humble enough to go, hey, maybe I'm not the right person for this, or to even be protective of your own issues and thinking about your own future. Maybe you don't need to be out on front on something, right? But only you know the answers to that. So when we're talking about today, thinking about messengers, make sure you think through those big things, and I will see you on the other side making better policies. Bye, everybody.